It's the Movie Toasty Show, here for you. Dennis and Adam joke about orgasms and sweet movie reviews. We talk about TV too, right?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah! Movie Toast.
Hey,
All right.
what is up, Toasties?
Woo!
How you doing? How you doing, Adam?
I'm great. Episode 208. I feel like the 200s are flying by right now.
They really are. No, I'm with you there, man. I still can't believe we're 200 plus episodes in.
Yes.
But still at it. Still more movies to watch. Once
Yeah,
we finish
there's
the
always-
movies, then we can be done, I guess. So
I was thinking today, I'm like, I kind of treat movies like people treat sports, except for me, there's no bye weeks. There's always something, even if it's a shitty movie.
there you go. There
Something's
you go.
coming out.
Super Bowl might
But,
be over, but the season ain't done. The movie
Yeah,
season.
you got all those off kilter. I don't fucking know. I got nothing. But how you doing?
Not bad. Not bad.
Good.
The flu swept through our house. Thankfully,
Oh boy.
only one of us got hit by it, so I was able to take care of the wifey, and we're all good now. But what about you? How's things out on the East Coast? Looking chilly.
Good. Yeah, a little bit. I took my glove off, the one glove I had left on, because I'm like, clicking my buttons is going to be a little sloppy. And then once I took it off, my hands could feel the difference in the 20-degree weather. So that's fun. So I'm going to power through this episode.
Gonna get a Michael Jackson it. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir. Woo.
Right.
You know, I was gonna have a Michael Jackson story on the last episode, and I realized I forgot it. Did I put it on this episode? Nope. I mean, I could have left that up for a little mystery if people were like, "Oh, are we gonna hear about Michael Jackson biopic today?" No, you're not. I don't know why you would think that. Anywho,
a little more roll out first before we hit you with that one, folks.
Yeah, we'll have to wait a little longer. But there is a musical biopic story coming up in the news section, which I suppose we should probably get to.
I'm ready for some news. I'm coming hot with some news.
Gather round, folks, it's time for the scoop. Tune your ears in, let's join the loop.
I'm tuned in.
All right, the loop is happening, Dennis.
Oh,
Up first,
MTG.
Netflix has announced that they are starting from scratch on the MTG, like you just said, Magic the Gathering universe that they want to set up. And they have a new showrunner who is coming in to run their Magic the Gathering show. It's going to be Jeff Klein, who is the guy behind Transformers Prime, the movie everyone likes. So
okay.
Could be interesting seeing someone like that.
Yeah. I'm pretty curious about this one. I'm not deep into the lore. I like to play in the card game and stuff, but I always like the artwork. I liked how brutal it all looks. This world looks fun. So yeah, you know that Netflix isn't going to half-ass. I feel like when you get to the fantasy elements of things like this, The Witcher, I had a lot of, I enjoyed a lot, and it seems to be a pretty solid franchise for the last 30 years.
Yeah, I think I want to say 90 it came out, right?
Something like that, yeah. 90 or 91 or
I feel like that's in my article here somewhere, but I don't know how to read, so fuck that. But no, the interesting thing is, I'm sorry, I was wrong. The guy who did Transformers Prime was the previous showrunner. The new one is a showrunner who did or is doing the upcoming Marvel's Vision over on Disney Plus. Terry Matalas. So I don't really know what else he's done, but I have some faith. If you're running a Marvel show, you should be able to do
those are big guns. Exactly. Yeah.
You don't let just anybody in over there.
Nice.
But I feel like fans are probably still a little aback because they've been here and we're getting a Magic movie, a Magic show for years.
Yeah.
But
especially when it's like you see the other examples of things getting made and then getting thrown to the side. Like when you look back and actually see how many D&D movies have been made, although the most recent one probably has done the best.
The only one people tend to think of. They don't think of the Marlon Wayans one or the sequel to that one.
Right.
Or even,
Jason
I think there
Statham
may be a
one.
third one. Yeah, yep.
There's yeah. So I get the hesitation, but you know, I think it's worth a risk. It could be fun to see. There's been a lot of great examples of taking gaming properties and turning them into things very entertaining. So
for sure.
All right, Netflix, let's see what you got.
But you have a nice transition there, Dennis, talking about that D&D movie, Honor Amongst Thieves, because Netflix also announced that Sean Levy, the guy behind the old Stranger Things show that's coming to an end, is working on a live-action D&D series called The Forbidden Realms.
Well, there you go. Go figure. I mean, he's already been writing about D&D so far, so might as well lean into it. That seems like a natural progression of things. And
it's like, I feel like
massive. So
yeah, exactly. And I feel like a lot of people didn't talk about D&D until they saw those boys over in the old Stranger Things playing it. They're like, what's this? And it's like, well, I guess he loves that lore, and why not bring it to the screen? I was going to say big screen, but I don't know. Depends on what size your TV is.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's only what virtually every RPG video game has ever been based on is the mechanics we got from Dungeons and Dragons now 40 years ago. That's nuts. Some of these things you forget how long-standing a lot of these properties are, and yeah.
I mean, I want to say what's that 70s, 80s maybe for D&D?
I want to say early 80s. The infamous story was
87, yeah.
There you go. It was a group of guys snowed in their house in their basement, and they just like came up with this game mechanic, and it just exploded from there. One of them started writing the first rule book, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, and to talk about big lore, I mean, how many countless renditions of D&D are there, and then spin-off games that ripped off, and all are basic video games, everything.
Yeah,
D&D
exactly.
games.
No, it's the framework for so many things that are, even if you don't play video games or board games and stuff, there's stories that have been lifted out of this world, references to things, just that classic trope of, getting the treasure from the place guarded by the creatures, and the band of ragtag folks working together to achieve the goal. It all kind of comes from, of course there's novels and things where they drew their inspiration from, but as far as it being shaped like this, it all kind of comes back to the same place. So. Awesome. Yeah. And what great hands for the property to go into, it's going to be
100%
already understood. So,
opposed to someone who's just like, oh yeah, I can make something out of that. And it's just like we got with the movie. We got the guys from Game Night and Horrible Bosses, one halves of Freaks and Geeks. Guys that understood that, made a fun movie. Speaking of which, that's coming to Netflix in a couple of weeks. So if you haven't seen it, good opportunity, folks.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Throw it in the
Speaking of things people like to watch, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is getting a continuation series over on Hulu.
Yes. Yeah. That's I was never much. I probably caught bits and pieces of it, but just wasn't my bag when I was younger. I wasn't into the horror or gothic scene, storytelling and stuff quite yet. But it's been interesting seeing what Sarah Michelle Gellar seems like a little nervous trying to reprise the role, like trying to do her justice. Because Buffy
saying she's not just going to do anything. She's really waiting for that story to click. And the person directing the pilot is Chloe Zhao, the woman who directed The Eternals. And they were supposed to have like a 20-minute coffee meeting. And apparently it spun off into like a 4-hour meeting of we could do this, we could do that. And so it seems like it's in capable hands. But I'm like you. I saw a few episodes. I was more a fan as a child of the Christy Swanson actual feature film. I loved the film. I rented that tape so much.
Sure. Nice.
And I feel like nobody fucking cared about the movie. They're like, that show, it's great. I'm like, well, the movie, you got fucking Paul Rubens.
Right. Yeah.
You got Donald Sutherland.
Oh, hell yeah.
Man. Some great stuff there.
Nice. Well, curious to see how that's going to come back. So some people have had some really good luck with pulling some stuff back, and so we'll have to see how this goes, especially if she's been.
And
waiting.
it's not
that means
it's not a full on serious order. It's a pilot, so of course it's going to prove itself, which is kind of nice. Opposed to here's the order, and then you get some shit. It's like, no, we want to make sure it's good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sticking with TV news, when I heard this next story, Dennis, I thought of you. Jeremy Strong is going to star in a The Boys from Brazil show.
Yeah. Oh, badass. Brutal. Okay.
And it's going to be a show run and created by the gentleman who recently did The Crown. His name is Peter Morgan. So I don't know if you want to talk about a little bit of what The Boys from Brazil is. You've reviewed it a few episodes back.
Yeah. Those not familiar with the storyline, this deals with post-World War II, just planet Earth, really. The Nazis that had escaped Germany and the Nuremberg trials had made it to like Argentina, Brazil, a couple other countries in South America, where they weren't extradited and could just kind of disappear with all the money that they had. Among them was a scientist who was perfecting a cloning technique, and he had preserved Adolf Hitler's DNA and was working on making a Hitler clone. And this is where the title comes from. This is his lab is in Brazil, and he's trying to birth a new Adolf Hitler to bring the Third Reich back. And then we've got these badass, like old school spies who are tracking him down. That's like, we are going to shut this the fuck down. We are not going to let another Hitler live. It is it's still a badass movie. That one really surprised me. I forget how many slices I gave it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was high, I think. Yeah.
I would believe that. Yeah. It's an intense, it's got Gregory Peck and a fantastic star-studded cast that are really doing this unflinching presentation, telling of the story. And it was a good one. It's a good one. So that's cool. As a series, that sounds interesting.
I feel like you could pull really so much out. Yes. Yeah. Oh man, I'm happy to hear you're not like, fuck that, the movie, leave it alone. But I hear that it should be good.
It's worth trying, worth checking out.
Fair enough.
There's certain titles, yes, I feel like are almost like there's too much reverence. You just don't touch it, leave it alone, let it be, let the original be what it is. This one, I'm like, okay, I could see bringing it back. There's a few, updating some of the effects and things, and there's a few actiony moments, and I'm curious how they're going to address some of the elements of this. I won't give any spoilies up front here. Oh yeah, like what's the classic question? If you had a time machine, could you go back and Deadpool baby Hitler? Well,
we'll find out on TV soon enough, I guess.
What if there's 5 of them?
Damn.
Yeah, brutal. All right.
Cool. Well, talking about leaving classics alone, last bit of TV news here, folks. It's rumored that John Lithgow is in final negotiations to sign on to play Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series on Max.
Lovely. I could see that.
You're right.
He's so delightful. Wonderful. It's hard. It's funny. Oh God, what we're just watching some. Watched the first few minutes of Footloose the other day because it was on Pluto. We were leaving the house, and I like to leave the TV on for the dog. I'm one of those dog dads.
No, it's cool.
And that was the movie on.
Lithgow's in it?
Yeah, he plays. So he plays the pastor in the town. That's like the most.
Is he the one that got a band?
Yeah. So, which is funny because they think it's right around the same time as Buckaroo Banzai, because he looks about the same age. And it's like he's had such a varied career, and then he kills it in Third Rock from the Sun, and I loved him in what's that spy thriller series he was doing with
The Old Man?
And yes, he's fantastic in that.
I gotta check that out. Just still
brutal, like he's just so good about this cold-blooded badass. Guy's great. Sure, be Dumbledore, man. I think
why not?
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that. All right. Now we're getting into some movie news here. Interesting casting. We get some talented artists coming together. We have Method Man and Kelly Rowland coming in to do an adaptation of a book called Relationship Goals: How to Win Dating, Marriage, and Sex, a comedy for Amazon. I don't know much about the book, but I like those two. I think it could be interesting to see them kind of spread their wings a bit.
Right. No, there's definitely, they definitely got the talent there. I'm with you. I might have heard the title before, but I'm not familiar with the content of the book itself. But
right.
But Netflix makes Amazon makes interesting choices when it comes to adapting books, novelizations, things like that. I'm not afraid of checking something like this out. Just get some Method. I like Method Man too.
I like seeing him do. He's done some good comedies. I know he's done the Power Book over on Stars. But to cut back to the boys from Brazil, one of our watchers over on Twitch, ZDDR4EV, said, with the time machine thing, if you did go back and unalive Hitler, then Einstein didn't leave Germany.
That's right.
He would never give the nuclear stuff to the new German administration. That would be scary, which is true. Never thought about that butterfly effect.
It's a good point. Well, at least we don't have to worry about that particular scenario, as these are clones of said Hitler. So we still get our nuclear arsenal at the end of the day, and that in this specific scenario. So yeah. Good point though. It's
true. You never think about undoing one evil thing, then creates a whole nother
the butterfly effect
world of pain. For sure. Good thinking. All right, up next, Nate Bargatze is gonna also star in a Netflix, Amazon film, a Christmas film titled Christmas in Paradise. He'll play a small town doctor who's beloved, who finds himself with a unique bounty on his head just weeks before Christmas, in a town where everything is not as it seems. I feel like a lot of people love him right now.
Right. When I think Nate Bargatze, I think Doctor and Christmas. Awesome. Okay. Well, good for him. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. Please. That's the point of talking. It's like two things. Although I guess he did have a Christmas special on one of the streamers, I think, recently. And
was that? Yeah. Did
maybe
Netflix
that's
have one?
Someone. Yeah.
One of the ones that does more stand up.
Peacock? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Anywho,
look at us doing our research.
Right.
But I'm like, good for him. He's at least getting out there doing a little bit more.
Exactly.
It's an interesting concept. Why would people want to kill a beloved small town doctor? But things aren't as they appear to be in this town.
All right.
So we'll probably see that in a few months. Speaking of things that we can see, Dennis, a little blast from the past. They're making a Bakugan film. I've never played this, but I remember the commercials.
I helped work on a couple.
Commercials.
Boy. Bakugan commercials.
There are little balls that you throw, and then little monsters transform out of the balls.
And then there's cards. There's a couple stages. Yeah, actually, the device, it's like the toy itself, is actually they're pretty cool. There's a lot of I don't want to say complex, but it's got a lot of little things happening, and the magnets that they put in them. So they had I know the way they land is a thing. They looked cool though. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know a damn thing about it.
I think I was a little too old to play them, but I was like, those commercials looked interesting.
Right. For me, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was kind of the end of this phase for me. So I never quite got onto and then I totally fucked off with the, oh God, what was the other one that's not, Digimon. Didn't fuck around with the Digimon.
Digital monsters. I like the Digimon. I watched the show enough, but I never played them knockoff. Although, when you think about Digimon, they really are fighting Tamagotchis. That's where they run out of. But
yes.
I feel like nobody ever talks about that, and that's all I ever think of.
Because for a minute it was I feel like they were neck and neck with Pokemon for briefly. It was just about big, and then Pokemon absolutely crushed them.
Which I see they're still making specials and movies. I guess I've seen a couple have come out, and I've been intrigued. I'm like, maybe I should try to watch it, but
for which
I don't remember
property?
Anything. Digimon.
Digimon. Oh, they're still doing it.
Okay. I love the theme song. I'll give him that. That was a fun theme song, if I recall correctly. But this movie is going to be directed by a director named Brad Payton, who one of his most famous movies is the fantastic Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson video game adaptation Rampage. So fingers crossed we could get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson throwing Bakugans at people.
Throwing them at children.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know enough about this. I don't know what's like.
Right?
Are they in this world? Are they going to actually be like creatures or robots or something?
Is it going to be?
Like,
yeah.
I don't know enough about it, but it's one of those where I'm sure they can inject enough special effects and lore into it that it'll be a very much larger in life. Yeah.
All right. Up next, recently it was revealed that Michel Gondry's musical biopic about Pharrell Williams called Golden has been completely shelved. And it was him and Pharrell's decision while they were working on the post process. While they were editing, they realized that there wasn't a path forward to tell the version of the story they originally envisioned.
Damn.
Which is weird because this was supposed to come out in May. And people were looking forward to it.
Wow.
So it's like, how bad must it have been?
Right. Oh, man. Like, that's it. There has to be something where you start feeling something on set.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you start seeing the assembly come together and you're just like, okay,
but
never mind.
Listen to the cast. Kelvin Harris Jr., Divine Joy Randolph, Brian Tyree Henry, Halle Bailey, Missy Elliott, Quinta Bronson, and so many other people who are fantastic at what they do.
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely.
But good on them for not just putting this out and making people pay something, watch something awkward.
Exactly. That takes a lot to then decide, like, all right, we gotta, at the very least, the crew got paid. Those people who worked up to that point were taken care of, but that's too bad to go through all that work and then know you need to put it down because it's not working. But
and the interesting thing, a lot of people they're planning to work again together. So it's like, hopefully that means things weren't terrible amongst them.
Right. There's at least chemistry on the crew side and the performance side, those elements mixed together. I mean, fuck, that's
right.
Change the subject matter and you add all those people again. I'm coming to see whatever that is.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Big names, big visions. And the interesting thing is a lot of people are like, why are there two Pharrell things coming out? Because we just had Piece by Piece a few months ago, which I saw and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like, and I loved, and I'm like, this would be really interesting to see this story play theatrically opposed to a recreation of Legos. And with that cast, it could have been something big, but I guess we'll never know. But what we will know, Dennis, is the fact that the Goonies are coming back. They have announced that they have officially hired a screenwriter and director for the Goonies sequel, 40 years after the original.
Like we were saying just not too long ago, certain things I think just need to be left the way they are. I don't know how you can get away with doing the Goonies and it will be, because they had that there's so many in-camera effects. There's so many special effects that were all done on set that it's never going to look like that. You already know that. Are they going to?
And it was the magic of seeing the kids going through this journey. It's like they're all fantastic actors as adults.
Especially, I want to say almost all these kids, none of them were a name yet. We knew them now after the fact. Was it Corey Feldman? Wasn't even, I don't think, was a household name yet. That was still
probably not as big.
Exactly. Much less any.
Brolin, I think, might have been on the precipice of becoming, but still not at that area. Key, not really. Sam from the old Lord of the Rings, no.
Nope. It's like that.
I guess.
If anything, I think that was the first movie he was in.
I would imagine.
The exception of but yeah, okay. I don't know. It's funny because there's so many of these things. We're trying to sound optimistic for Buffy, but that's a series. You can take more
that people
you
love.
Give it more chances.
And there's always Creatures of the Week that people can enjoy with this.
Exactly. But
and the
Goonies,
thing I'm like,
all one story. Like, how do you bring that charm back?
that I'm saying this because I was notoriously a hater of the Goonies for the longest time, and I recently resaw it on the big screen. I'm like, oh, I see what people love about this, but I want to be like, oh, Steven Spielberg is behind this, so it has to be good. But I'm like, he was also behind a lot of those Jurassic World films.
He was. Yeah. I don't know.
So,
I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I'm not holding my breath for this one. We'll just see how it plays out.
I will say the screenwriter director they're bringing on is a guy named Potsy Ponacroli, and he did this really intricate kind of Tarantino-esque independent movie called Greedy People I saw a few months ago, and it was fantastic. The story played, we got a lot of points of views of different people and really great performances, but I don't know, like we said, it's the Goonies, and I don't know. Anyways, we have one more story here before we get to our polls.
All right.
Quentin Tarantino was recently at Sundance, and he announced that he's going to take a little bit of time to just be a dad. He doesn't want to rush his next movie. But the interesting thing is he's been working on a stage play that he hopes to get in front of audiences within the next year. And if it's good enough, it may be adapted into becoming his final film.
Huh, interesting. What's cool is you could totally see that as at least a way of kind of testing the waters. I mean, there was the infamous leaking of the script after that he ended up doing the table read for
Hateful Eight, right?
Hateful Eight, yes.
And then Inglourious Basterds script got put out there, and before it came out, that kind of helped his case as well. But then we also had his last film, the critic, I believe it was, or the film critic, whatever it was going to be called, got completely scrapped just a couple of weeks or maybe a month before it was going in production. So it's like interesting to see that he's willing to say, hey, you guys want this, but I don't want to just shit out my last movie, whether it's his last movie or not.
God,
the fact that he's willing to say, fuck it, I want to take the proper time and channels to do it.
It's a great way, because being on stage, it's focusing on the acting, which is 100% where he's at. It's the performance first. Awesome. Sharpen, not that it needs to sharpen the tools, but like fucking surgical precision here on this last one, then go for it, man. I'm all for that. Now,
it's interesting.
Would he?
Go ahead.
Would he do a filmed stage release? Like would we just release the whole stage play in a single viewable digital format?
That'd be an interesting way to go out. I don't know. That's
no. But what if we don't call it a movie? So technically,
kind of how Kill Bill is one movie opposed to two separate films.
Yes, there you go. See, I think he's building in his own loophole.
That's a smart move.
So that way he can still then go and do whatever the final film is. Can be when he's 100 and Clint Eastwood years old.
Sure as shit, people are going to pay to go watch a stage play of a Tarantino movie. People who wouldn't even sit down and watch a play would pay good money to see it. It would be a massive hit. Smart move. I didn't think about that play. Son of a bitch. Smart thinking. All right. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the news here.
All right. Yeah, you feeling like some polls?
I think so.
All right. Let's do some polls.
Let's do
some polls.
All right. On episode 207, Dennis, you reviewed a little movie called Alien Romulus. So I wanted to know what the Toasties' favorite alien-infested movie they preferred out of Starship Troopers, War of the Worlds, the 2005 one, District 9, and Attack the Block.
Oh, God.
I feel like I know your take.
I'm always gonna have a special place in my heart for Starship Troopers. I kind of just want to knee jerk and say that, but District 9 is pretty fucking awesome, and I still thoroughly enjoy that film to this day.
And talking about taking a movie that was scrapped and repurposing it, that was going to be a Halo movie and became a fantastic standalone original.
My God. And
so it works.
To be honest, I'm really glad that it did work out that way. I mean,
right?
The District 9 ended up being so fucking good. But yeah, I mean, I know it's cheesy and it's terrible, but I guess I will go Starship Troopers anyways. Like,
no, hey, I mean, it's a classic. You can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it would have to be Attack the Block. I knew nothing about the movie before I went into the screening, and it blew my mind. I love that film so much. Nice. First entry of John Bodega that I've had, and I loved it.
John Boyega.
Yeah, did I say Bodega?
You might. John's Bodega. I'd watch that movie.
I'd get a bagel with some smear on that from that bodega. But let's find out what the Toasties had to say. 0% for Starship Troopers,
son of a bitch.
Which I thought would be 100% if anything.
I at least thought it would have got something. I will say though, I love that artwork you found, that thumbnail. The classic like 80s
I don't think it's
poster.
Official, but it looks sexy.
Oh, but I'm with you there.
See, folks, if you want to know what we're talking about, you got to watch the live stream or watch this over on our YouTube at movie_toast. Anywho, up next, 0% for District 9.
Son of a bitch. I have terrible taste.
You're batting 100 here, Dennis. So let's see. Is Attack the Block going to be a 50-50? Is it going to be 100? I don't know. 0% for Attack the fucking Block.
Wow.
We're both in the doghouse here. 100%
really
for War of the Worlds, which I thought was boring as fuck.
I mean, it's funny. I think we watched it like just last summer, and I was like, oh yeah, because I remember seeing it in theaters when it came out. It was cool then. Going back to watch it now, what's funny is I was more annoyed by the sound effects they chose. Like, I don't know if it's just me getting older that I'm just like, oh, shut up. I get it. Loud, scary noises. But it definitely doesn't have the punch that it did back then.
Right.
So I'm surprised, folks.
Does it hold up? Like, does the effects and the visuals or is it just dated now?
What's funny is I think it still looks really good. It's more what you don't see is a lot scarier. What's funny is now trying to watch Tom Cruise play that character, I buy him so much less. Like,
why is that? Is it because of the whole Mission Impossible of him, or him being a dad?
Trying to watch him be this version of this kind of dad. Like, maybe it was easier then when he didn't make all of these other movies afterwards. Because technically he was Ethan Hunt then still too, but
it just wasn't as huge.
Not nearly as many, and not
at that point.
Maybe
we're not, 2 or 3 might have been out.
Yeah, the first 3, 4 or 4 out. Anyways, I don't know. I'm just surprised, folks. Come on,
right?
Come on.
Like all these other fantastic movies, Attack the Block, I get not being up there.
At least
but District fucking 9 and Starship Troopers. I mean, who doesn't love Starship Troopers and District 9? Come on. Apparently the Toasties.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
We asked and they answered, Dennis.
That's right. That's right. Doesn't mean we need to like the answer. It's okay.
Right?
That's one of the great things about the show. We don't need to tell you you're wrong either. It's all about your own taste, what you enjoy. And it's I like the surprise. You at least gave us.
We're just happy you actually check us out on our socials at movie_toast everywhere and take part in the polls. Up next, our next poll. I reviewed the latest Jack Quaid movie, Companion. So I wanted to know what the Toasties' favorite film starring Jack Quaid was out of Oppenheimer, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Scream, and The Hunger Games.
Wow.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't know he was in half of those films. Until I've researched.
Same here. I'm like, I've seen the first 2 enough times. I'm not Scream. Is this, so that's the
reboot, continuation, legacy. Yes. There's 5. What it is.
Not yet, because Scream just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. I've seen the first.
I love the Scream. And these new ones are good. Almost a different, more grounded version, and then it gets silly.
Less schlocky, maybe, than...
Yeah.
Okay.
But it still is. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
Oh, sure.
Wondering how they're going to merge the 2 now that they got rid of our 2 main heroines.
And it seems like they're bringing back all these people who are supposed to be like dead
everyone
and
else.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I love the Miles Morales chapters of the Spider-Man universe.
100%.
But what's funny, I don't recall him having a particular impact.
Apparently,
on
he
me.
played a version of Peter Parker. I don't know which one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
I only think of Jake Johnson as Peter Parker.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The one unfortunately I feel like I got to identify with the most, at least in the first movie.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to go Oppenheimer just by default at this point, but that's not really a fair comparison to whatever he did. See, I didn't fucking know he was in the Hunger Games, but I haven't seen.
I didn't either.
Yeah. So.
I've seen them all a couple of times.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna go for Scream. I did know he was in Scream.
Okay,
I think that was the one I knew he was in, and he did pretty good.
Nice.
But let's find out what the Toasties had to say. 0% for my film Scream. Fuck that.
Them boys.
25 for yours, Oppenheimer.
Oh, okay. Well, there's like 200 people in that movie, so it's like yeah.
I think he was talking about it in an interview recently. He's like, yeah, I think I played bongos in a scene, but then seeing all these big celebrities around me was kind of nice. I'm like, hey, you're getting paid to be in a Christopher Nolan film. Sure, why not?
Fuck yeah. There you
Background acting for everyone who's big. 25% for Across the Spider-Verse. 50% for the Hunger Games. So apparently our Toasties knew he was in it. Who he played, beyond me, but good to hear people enjoyed him in it.
There you go. Yeah. That's a series I feel like I want to check out. It seems like something I should enjoy. So
it's kind of a watered down version of Battle Royale, which I would say check that one out.
Still, hell yeah! I never got past the first one. I never saw the second one.
I never watched the sequel either, even though it's probably sitting out back somewhere because my brother had all of them.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know. I don't know how you live up to that first one.
Right. God damn. That's just still. I let that shocking feeling, like that feeling in your chest of just seeing something that's both like it's disturbing, but you can't look away. Yeah,
right? And happening to children.
Yes,
school kids on a field trip.
So brutal. It's a great movie still.
I know it sounds sappy. It's definitely worth checking out the Hunger Games, and even the prequel one, this Ballad of Songbirds or whatever, also fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. But we're not here to talk about the Hunger Games, Dennis. We're here primarily, and the listeners and watchers are probably here for a thing called reviews.
Lights, camera, action, it's review time. Dennis and Adam, we gon' blow your mind. We're stepping up to the plate, ready to swing. Analyzing movies like a scientist would play.
All right, folks. Dennis, you are leading us with our first review of the night or day, whenever the hell you're listening or watching.
I'm going to take you back to the year 2000. This is some a little gem of a teen horror film called Final Destination. Now it's funny. It's a movie that I feel like is so just kind of a part of filmmaking culture, the zeitgeist. Yeah, you just say you use the name of the film to describe a situation of potential peril, and people know exactly what you're talking about, and this is the film that kicked off a series that went on for years with many sequels. It's telling the story of a group of high school kids who are going on a field trip to Paris, and while they're boarding the plane, our main character, played by Devon Sawa, Alex, he goes through all of this, all of the events of like the plane just exploding, and we see all of the characters die. Ooh. Yeah, we're seeing it all from the inside of the plane, and he then like snaps awake, realizes it hasn't happened yet, but he sees a few cues that are telling him like this is going to happen. Like all of these events are actually coming true. So he panics. This fight starts. A few of them get pulled off the plane, just for them to then see the plane explode, and they've cheated death. But as they quickly find out, you can never actually cheat death. Death will come for you. So they start getting picked off one by one in these ridiculous, over-the-top accidents and situations that kind of get set up. But we got a laundry list of actors in here that are pretty memorable.
Sure.
Tony Todd plays a bit part of
Death.
An incredible, like.
And unofficial, non-named.
Right. Like it's kind of debatable. It's interesting because it's like, is it his associate? He's a undertaker, like a funeral home employee. That's basically like laying out, look, I've been around death for so long. He kind of lays out the rules to our main cast. Ali, like I said, Devon Sawa, Ali Larder, Sean William Scott, and several other actors, teen actors who were famous at the time, are on screen here. Now, I get when the film came out, it had a huge impact. I remember like classmates of mine saw this way too young. I mean, shit, I was 10, 11, 10 years old when it came out. So I wasn't going to see this. And honestly, I was not into horror movies until I got into high school. So I had years to go before I was even remotely interested in watching anything close to this. And finally got around to watching it for the first time.
Oh, wait, you've never seen this before?
Never.
Oh, ever. Man.
So that I think has an interesting impact on this. I have no nostalgia for this movie whatsoever. So I went into this thing like I mean, like anyone else. I like we talked about the name Final Destination in the zeitgeist. I get what it's about. I remember seeing all the trailers. I remember thinking it looked dumb when I was young. Then opinion hasn't changed. That movie was so fucking ridiculous. I couldn't even like laugh at the screen. I just throw my head back and I can't. Oh my God.
If you're thinking that this early on, wait till you get to the sequels and the sequels upon sequels. I mean, there's some cool things that happen, but there's also a lot of shit. Like, as I saw you watch this, I was trying to relive all the movies in my head, and I could only get through the first 3. And then I'm like, oh, I know I saw 4 and 5, but I don't remember any of it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that bullshit happened in that. Like, it went from like cool events, like this one was a plane crash. The sequel was at an amusement park. The third one was an interstate accident.
On a highway,
and then it just goes downhill to like a race car accident to a mall accident and a bridge accident.
I remember these
like,
trailers.
What?
It's funny, as you're saying them all, I can remember the ads. I feel like that's it right there. I don't need any more movie than it could be 90 seconds. I would have been fine.
Mm-hmm.
All of the, like, it's unfortunate because there's actually solid talent in this movie. Terrible dialogue.
Oh yeah.
Terrible direction. I hated just these really stupid decisions these characters make. And I get it's supposed to be like the classic don't go in there sort of logic, but a whole movie made around that. And then to watch this like invisible hand guiding all of these events, it's just too much. I mean, I like a lot of weird shit. This was too much for me. I could not. I just but see, so on the flip side, my wife, she did see this when this came out. So it's like a great nostalgia trip. Oh, this and that. Oh, and it's so cool. And I couldn't do this for a week after watching. I'm like, I got none of that. Everyone has that classic, I couldn't swim in the ocean for months after watching Jaws. I've just never had a movie hit me like that before. This one won't do that. Still doesn't. I can't.
So is it
kind of wanted to.
Simple to say you're not going to be first in line to go see Final Destination Bloodlines, which just had a trailer come out.
No, I do.
It doesn't look good from the trailer, which was a scene that came out. I'm like, what is this?
I would rather see the next fucking Jurassic Park than watch one of these. I'll be honest. If you want to check it out, though, it is available on Max for streaming. If you want to go relive the destinations, there's many of them are available.
The
over
whole
there. In
saga.
Fact, when I was watching it, all of them were in like the top 15 top viewed movies on Max. So go check them out there if you'd like. I certainly won't be. I'm giving Final Destination 1.5 slices. There was some neat effects. There was some heightened elements that I thought were kind of interesting, but I just couldn't. I couldn't.
Wow. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah,
all right. I'm actually happy that you watched this because it kind of spins me off into my next movie, which is a film called Heart Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, I went into this movie expecting shit. I thought it was, beginning of the year, they're dumping a bad horror movie. And the reason I say this connects to Final Destination is because it has Devon Sawa in it as a police officer. And it's interesting because I have like some of those like those Kevin Bacon degrees of separation here.
Oh,
because I worked on a film that Devon Sawa was in. It stars Mason Gooding. Worked on a film that he was in that we're going to talk about later today. And then the other star of this movie is Olivia Holt. One of my old roommates was dating her sister that just moved into my apartment without asking. So yeah, a couple of interesting connections here.
Oh man.
But none of that means anything. So this movie is interesting. This is a movie about an ad exec, a creative person who works at a jewelry company, and she made this campaign for jewelry that was based around serial killers and movie scenes where there's rings involved. But as it turns out, it's Valentine's Day, and every Valentine's Day for the past 3 years, there's been a murderer going around the country named the Hard-Eyed Killer who's going around killing people. And they just killed right as this campaign happened. So they decide, let's bring in a newer hotshot to work with you to make a new campaign so we can get that out there. And this girl is afraid that her job's in danger because this hotshot who she just met earlier is coming for her job. He doesn't want her job. He just wants to help her make a good ad. And the two go out to this dinner date on Valentine's Day, and they end up leaving and running into her ex-boyfriend who is with a new woman. And so to make things even more awkward, she just kisses Mason Gooding, and the Hard-Eyes Killer sees this, and then they have a target on their back. And it's interesting because this movie really plays as a rom-com. Like, it takes a little bit before we get into the killer hunting them. We start the movie off with the big bang of this killer killing, and then we cut to something that is just very sweet and sincere, and then mix in some brutal kills and some scary scenes.
Funny.
This movie was really fun and really interesting.
Okay.
I had a blast watching it. Like,
nice.
People are acting the way I would imagine most people would want to react in real life. Like doing things that don't just seem like, oh man, we're in a movie, so we're going to make dumb choices. No, they're doing things that for the most part are realistic.
Nice.
And
all right,
it's really sweet. There's some good comedy. There's some good gore. And our two cops are played by Jordana Brewster and Devon Sawa, are named Hobbs and Shaw. So that's the type of movie we're in. And then Olivia Holt's character is like, oh, like that movie? And it's like, wait, so Jordana Brewster is in the Fast and Furious movies.
Right.
So, all right, this is a new tangled web, but it just works. I don't know. I laughed my ass off.
That's
I don't
wild.
think my theater got it as much. But if you're looking for a rom-com that has some slasher elements and really brutal moments, and let me tell you, the Hard-Eyes Killer is a fun, creepy-looking character, and Olivia Holt and Mason Gooding have electric chemistry. Everything about this movie is really, really good. I highly suggest checking out Hard Eyes. I'm going to give it 3 slices of toast.
Okay. Oh, badass. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious about this one, so I was really excited to see you were reviewing it in this episode. That's really great to hear. All right. I'm looking forward to checking that one out then.
Surprise! My first big surprise of the year. I was so happy. I'm like, holy shit. I went to see 3 movies in a day. I thought this was going to be my least interesting one and one of my favorites.
That's awesome.
100%.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
All right. You got something that is now over on the Hulu.
That is right. Yes. I remember briefly hearing about this movie. Didn't really pay it much mind. And then I saw the Stavros Halkias episode of Hot Ones, and they talked about the making of this film called Let's Start a Cult. That seemed to be the primary reason he was there, is to promote the film. But man, is that guy really funny. It was just a really good time. As you know, it's always a good interview in that show. But here's the story of a cultist group living in a farmhouse together, and it's a small I forget the name of the cult itself, but they call each other family. They're their own chosen family, and they're going to transcend. Really, they're all in a suicide pact because they think they're going to see some alien or whatever the fuck, wherever they're going to go to. And so many of them they're very soft spoken, very like put together. Oh yes, we're going to transcend. And then we got Stavros. Yeah, let's fucking do it, guys. just imagine going up there and I'm like plowing Marilyn Monroe. It's gonna be like this, and it's just so vulgar and funny. I started laughing within the first couple of minutes. Didn't stop. I had a great time.
I'm with you. After I heard you watch this and I missed it when it was in theaters and didn't watch the screener we got for it, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to watch it too. But I kind of had a different reaction. I'm like, oh, this guy's so fucking annoying. But then he grew on me. I loved it. It like you said, you start laughing and then you never stop. And it just like everything, like the poster, the trailer, I feel like doesn't do it any justice. This is a fantastic independent film.
So absolutely. No, this is definitely, it's a movie that leans on the ability of its cast and the script they were given, and those elements work fantastic. This assembly of people, you have great talent. Like I mentioned, Stavros Halkias, Ethan Suplee, you get a little bit of Joe Pera in there doing his Joe Pera thing. Our other main lead, Wes Haney. You get a couple of scenes with the great wrestler CM Punk. It's got an interesting cast of characters that just mesh so well together, and it's uncomfortably charming. What's funny is as we're watching it, I'm like, oh my god, it's like it reminded me of watching Napoleon Dynamite for the first time in this awkward but unashamed sort of independent comedy that was just living in its own space, that just fully leaned in to
everyone
what
went for it.
Yes, exactly.
No holding back. One of my favorite scenes was that sex scene. I was loving every second of it. It was awkward and weird, and they were just living in that moment for a good couple of minutes.
Give me the thigh master.
Well, I'm not done with you yet.
Oh my god, that was like it was like I said, I had a great time from beginning to end. There, as funny as it was also sweet and charming. He was meant to be obnoxious and just terrible, but you end up loving him, like you said. You don't want a new family. Exactly. So obviously he doesn't, but he decides he wants to get a new family back together. He hates his life. His
real
blood
family.
relatives, his immediate family, he can't stand him. That first line with Ethan Suplee was,
you gotta learn to jerk off quicker. Oh,
you gotta learn to come faster. It's just
we start this movie off seeing Stavros jerking off for a couple of minutes, and I didn't realize the way they set that up, who the character he was jerking off to. That was
it's great. See, even something as just like foul as that, you still have these. Everything is done with a purpose. It becomes clear just how brash this character is. Chip is not for everybody, that's for sure. But I feel like we all kind of know a Chip or have met a Chip in your lives, and as obnoxious as that person might be, they still have a lot of heart and charm. So you can't quite you don't want to just remove them from your life either. And he that blossoms in this movie, and like I said, I had a great time watching this. It's just was a great blend of people. It runs at a steady pace too for 90 minutes. I probably could have taken more, but I'm glad they didn't overdo it. Our sets were simple but felt real, raw, and lived in. Nothing felt too fake or phony. Everything was just as it should. They didn't ask for too much. They didn't have giant special effects. There was a couple of great sight gags. The raccoon trap was fucking great. There's just so many funny things in this movie.
It's a period piece film taking place back in 2000, which is interesting.
Right. Oh, so I watched a movie released in the year 2000, and then I watched a movie that took place in the year 2000. And it's another one of those great devices. It removes a lot of these elements that would undo a lot of the logic of the film and lets our characters go on the journey that they need to go on. So, yeah, I'd highly recommend it. It is available on Hulu still. If you're a fan of like Arrested Development, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or Trailer Park Boys, things in that quirky but sort of pushing the envelope sort of nature, I think you would enjoy watching this film quite a bit. I personally am going to give Let's Start a Cult 3 slices of toast.
I'm close. I'm giving it 3.5. I'm
Nice.
living there with you.
Okay,
really dug this one.
I'm happy. I'm totally with you there. Oh man,
I almost didn't watch it, but I'm like, I want to talk with him about it, because if he says he likes it, I'm gonna really be mad that I didn't see it.
Yeah.
And then if it sucks and he loved it, I'm gonna fight him on it.
That's great. Which is what I love about doing this, man. No, I'm so glad you did. Now, what's funny is when you say 3.5, I'm like, why wouldn't I give it 3.5? I don't have an answer for that at the moment.
Although I'm wondering why we'll give it 4, but I'm not. I don't want to.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Spots.
It's not like it's absolutely perfect.
Close.
There's a couple.
There's
a couple things that, like the painting the car montage, I think went a little long. I think there's a little bit of back and forth on. Like there's a couple of moments where it kind of drug its feet. The campfire song, although it created for a couple of funny moments, the song went on too long. I get what we're doing here.
Sure.
You've already hit that emotion. So okay, well there you go. That's why I would give it
3 is still pretty worthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anything at 3 and above is like you add it to your queue. You know, you may not fall in love with it, but you're gonna have a good time watching it. So this one's up there.
Fair enough. All right, I have our latest entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Captain America: Brave New World. All right, so this movie takes place in real time. We're catching up with Sam Wilson after the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's now taken on the mantle of Captain America. He's doing pretty good. He's loving it. And he gets an invite to go to the White House to meet with President President Thunderbolt. And they don't have a great rapport, seeming how he's the one who incited the Sokovia Accord and sent him to the boat, the prison. And it turns out he wants Sam to start up the Avengers again, because the Avengers haven't been the Avengers since Captain America Civil War divided them. And as that's going on, Sam has brought his sidekick, the new version of the Falcon, and the original Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, with him to the White House. And they're there watching as President Thunderbolt is essentially going to unite the world, because him and the other superpowers, primarily Japan and a few other countries, have discovered a new rare new rare thing on the Eternal Island, the island that came out in the Eternals. And that little item they found is adamantium, and everyone wants to mine it, but President Thunderbolt wants to unite everyone so there's not a whole war about it. And as he's about to unveil this to the world, some shit goes down, and there's an attempt on the president's life. And Isaiah Bradley is essentially a puppet in this. And he doesn't know why. He kind of was blacked out and came back through. And this whole movie is essentially about Sam clearing Isaiah's name and uncovering what really happened at that event. And it's chock full of a lot of callbacks and stuff to the original Incredible Hulk film, not the original, but the MCU's Incredible Hulk.
Oh, yes,
and also Eternals, and a little bit of Captain America, or I guess Falcon in the Winter Soldier, depending on how you. I mean, they called it Captain America and the Winter Soldier at the end, but it's weird because we're getting a lot of villains. We're getting Juan Carlos Esposito as a member of the Serpents, and he's a badass character, but you can tell he's not in a lot of it. And then we're also getting a callback to the Hulk with Tim Blake Nelson's character, Samuel Stearns, who might be behind all of this. And of course, we have Harrison Ford stepping in as Thaddeus Ross, and he becomes Red Hulk. Of course, that's all over the marketing, and of course, that's not even the main crux of the film.
Yeah, right. That's what, honestly what was intriguing me. Like when we were at Comic-Con this last year, Marvel Studios had that huge to do on the floor that they were showing off. You know, obviously teasing Ross being Red Hulk and stuff. You know, showing that he's clearly going to turn into him. It's that classic trope. Okay, Giancarlo Esposito is in it. You see these elements of like, all right, if you're showing me these are obvious villains right here in the trailer, that means they're not the villains. I'm made me very curious what the rest of that is going to end up being. So I unfortunately didn't get to make it to the theaters, but this is definitely one I want to see on the big screen. So I really do appreciate that they did dig out Red Hulk as a villain for the movies, though. That's a very unique character. I feel like a lot of people don't know enough about him. That it's one fun, unique trait that Red Hulk has over our standard Bruce Banner-y Hulk is he doesn't just get stronger when he gets angrier; he gets hotter when he gets angry.
Yeah, you see like things hitting his body, and they're just kind of crisping up and catching on fire, which is kind of cool. But I will say, a lot of people, this movie is divided. I know I'm going on long here on this. I do apologize.
No. Please.
But a lot of people are divided, whether they like it or not. You can tell, yes, this was reshot and this was thrown in there last second. The story's all over the place, but it's like, shut your fucking brains off. This is a Marvel movie.
Right.
This is a political thriller, kind of on par, not as good as Captain America, the Winter Soldier, but it's pretty close to that. And it's really great to see Anthony Mackie do his thing and get to shine, because he always has been that sidekick who's had quippy remarks, and this time he gets to own his presence. And just watching that is great. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like the character who was the new Falcon, Danny Ramirez's character, Joaquin Torres, in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I enjoyed him in this. Now, I will say things feel a little bit different from that show to this. But I mean, it's been 3 years, so it's nice. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
I really like the fact that they're not just doing the same old thing, and they're showing the fact that he isn't like Isaiah. He isn't like Steve. He doesn't have the super soldier serum. Apparently they offered it to him and he turned it down. And there's even a moment when he's fighting and they're like, "Oh, that's your weakness." Like, no, I don't need the serum to do what I need to do. And that's fantastic. And I don't know. It just feels right. And I'm happy to see this. And I want to see more Anthony Mackie starring as Captain America. I can't wait to see where it goes next. Honestly, I had a blast watching this.
Well,
I'm going to give Captain. Yeah. Any questions or anything? Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I'm loving seeing more of Anthony Mackie as a leading man. I was super, as we chatted about in the past, super pumped for the next season of Twisted Metal. Absolutely love that show. So I
can't wait till we get our hands on the screeners for that bad boy. I keep checking.
God, yes, that was the show was so wonderful. So I'm glad to see it coming off. Like he's going to be coming off of doing press and world tours and crap for this movie. That show is going to be right around the corner. Good for him, man. That's so great to hear.
He deserves
it. More. Yeah, hell yeah. Absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like, he is himself. Like I said in the past, I've worked with him. I've interacted with him, and he's just this fun, charming, charismatic guy. And it's nice to see that as Captain America and not a Boy Scout, which I love. Chris. Chris is great.
Oh, yeah.
He did a good job with Steve, but this is a more relatable character, a more charming character in a different way. And it's nice to see him get this. And like I said, he's going to essentially start a new Avengers, and I can't wait to see who they pluck and throw into it. And there is a post-credit scene that sets up something that we already know is coming, but it could feel like a throwaway for some people, but it's still fun to watch and be like, "Oh shit, I know what he's talking about." If you know, you know, type of thing.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, awesome. Love it.
So I'm going to give Captain America Brave New World 2.5 slices of toast. Not the best, not the worst. I had a good time. Don't let people talk you out of it.
Oh yeah, it's again at the very least, I feel like it's one of those. It's going to be a fun time in the theater on a big screen. The sound.
Oh yeah, I saw it IMAX 3D. Ooh man.
Yeah.
3D not so great, but the IMAX and the sound see it in Dolby. See it on whatever biggest screen you can see it. It has some nice visuals. Yes, some of it is CG, but it's a Marvel movie. Of course, you're doing that.
Of course, yeah.
Speaking of a movie
Awesome,
that
man.
has a lot of CG, you got a movie that I'm going to jump in on and talk a little bit with you about.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. Don't hold back.
Oh no. Yeah, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Haven't you ever wanted to see one of those Sweet Life kids with a fucking machine gun? Well, now's your chance. Dylan Sprouse stars in Aftermath. This is a movie that is available for streaming now.
On Hulu.
On Hulu, yes. I'm like, wait a minute.
And it says Netflix on the scroll down here. I do apologize if you're watching.
So we've got Dylan Sprouse's character. I'm trying to remember.
Oh no, I'm wrong. It is Netflix. Fuck me.
It is Netflix.
Sorry.
Oh, so okay. Yeah. Oh no, it's all good. It's all good.
You're right. You're right.
Eric is back home from the army. He's hanging out with his younger sister, Madeline, not Maddie, and they're going to the movies. She's 16. He's trying to be a cool big bro. I'm gonna teach you how to drive. Meanwhile, we're seeing a prisoner getting moved in an armored car, played by Dyken Lockman. I want to make sure I'm saying her name right. Actress who you might recognize from Severance. She goes by the nickname Doc. Some shit clearly went down, and she's getting moved to some other high security location. Well, at the same time, on a third perspective, we see a group of like mercenaries getting ready to do some shit. They're about to execute some gnarly plan. They're talking about being uber patriots, and that they've been building up towards this mission. And Mason Gooding is the leader of this group here, which was so funny because I wasn't familiar with him right away, but I'm like, God, why is he so familiar? His voice, especially, his voice is very familiar. And
maybe
realizing
his own daddy.
Maybe his dad might be in a movie or two that I've seen before.
Might have an award. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. So all of these elements collide on this bridge going into Boston. I think you know better than me.
Go either way, yeah.
Either way, okay. Bombs go off. All these cars are isolated, a bunch of civilians, and our mercenary group is trying to extract this this prisoner, this inmate who's getting moved, and our main two, Madeline and Eric, are caught in the middle of the shit. So I love the setup. I got to be honest. I like the idea of where we're at. The set itself is really cool. I like this. It's like it's isolated, but not. They still made it feel very open, but we're all trapped in this kind of narrow space. Starts to go off the rails pretty quick, though, I must say.
I mean, right off the get-go, it went off the rails in my opinion, but yeah. Pretty quick
it's one of those where I'm like, we get like 10 minutes in, I'm like, okay. I'm going to surrender a lot of things. That first CG shot was just almost nauseating of how just, I don't know. There was a weird texture to it, but I'm like, okay, you just got to give that up. You just got to let. Yeah. They focused elsewhere, and where they focused was a lot of on-set like effects and stuff, and a lot of cars, and there's some destruction on some elements of the set itself. But oh boy, the dialogue gets pretty rough.
Oh, the dialogue is rough.
The dialogue is rough, and then you have some talent in this movie that all of a sudden
doing a good talented role.
Yeah, like all of a sudden it's like, wow, did everyone forget how to act? And
like I said,
these people who are supposed to be these hard ass fucking baddest mercenaries on the planet, and I've seen better actors doing gunplay in way cheaper movies. Unfortunately, we had just the night before we had watched the documentary miniseries Surviving Black Hawk Down, and going from that to this, it's like watching kids play Army, and it doesn't get any better. There's just the cheese is thick here. Oh my goodness. I wanted to keep liking it. It was like
No.
it did. Like I didn't start off liking it a lot. I started off liking it a tiny bit. Like okay, I just need to give this a shot, and then it just fell off from there and never recovered. Dylan Sprouse though. I mean, he was cool. I could see him in more action roles after doing something like this, but he needs a better chance. It needs to be another tier above this at least. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it got rough, and then it got to the, and then you know what? It straight up got laughable by the end.
It was laughable in the get-go.
Yeah,
it was laughable on the page, Dennis.
Oh baby, yeah, this was a rough one. I could see an audience for this though. There's definitely when I watched it, it was like trending number 2.
It was number 2, then became number 1 for some time.
It definitely got in front of some eyes. I'm sure a lot of those people started reviewing it because if you go and look at the aggregate scores, it's not good. And I try to ignore that going into a movie and just form my own opinion because I will often go out, like veer away from what those are. I am 100% with what people are saying about it. This is a pass. I could see things about this people would like. And I know
it's still number 2.
Audience
it's been up for about a week now. Still number 2, folks.
Well, so yeah, like there's definitely people who you may enjoy this if you like the sort of like paramilitary soldier out in the civilian world having to step up and be the hero once again in the real, like in the civilian world, not real world because it's all the real world. Then maybe this is for you, but I couldn't recommend it. I think I'm being generous saying I'm only giving it 1 slice. I appreciate what it was attempting. I liked Dylan Sprouse as like an action character. Yeah, that's all my positives.
Fair enough.
Right there.
And like you said, performance is not very good. Mason Gooding, if you want to see him in a good movie, go see Hard Eyes because he is a leading man and fantastic in it. But
see, I love that you said he was in that. I'm just like, oh man, I'm glad you said he was good in that movie because he's And then him in this movie, what were they telling him? Like, what were they directing him in that space? Because he was so over the top in certain things, and then they made him so put together, and then they made him fucking crumble in other scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like. It's not like it doesn't play off as a dynamic character. It plays off like the script's just
all
wandering these random directions before finally just kind of ending. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, try working on a movie like that, Dennis. It's not fun. I'm going to give it a half a slice of toast.
Half a slice, yeah.
But folks, please do check it out because why not? Because you should. Even
you might get a laugh at it. If you don't like it, you'll probably get a laugh out of it. It's one of those like you might still at least have a good time watching it. And not
you don't
not
lie.
the,
No. I'm just
right
saying
way.
that because I got paid for that. So that's
go.
I'm moving on here, folks. Sorry, I worked on this movie. That's why I can talk shit.
And it was awesome seeing Adam's name in the credits for this movie. So we did.
I will say the 1 or 2 times I went to set, seeing this bridge built in a soundstage, it was pretty breathtaking. Yes, there is green screen all around and it looks cheesy, but just seeing cars and it was a cool thing to see.
That was going to be my question for you. Where is the soundstage? Or like, can you telling exactly?
This soundstage, this wasn't a soundstage that was a soundstage. Well, I guess they converted in. It was at an old Navy pier base.
That makes sense. Super long. Okay. Perfect sense. No, see that
they built.
Sounded so awesome because like you get to those wides of the bridge, I'm like, that would have been so fucking cool to build. That was my first thought. I'm like, that would have been a cool art department to be on. And then once it's done, you just kind of fucking walk away. Like, the props masters got their own job. The handful of people got things to do. This is a movie. You set it and
good
forget
people
it.
over there for that. And what else? Another cool part. Picture cars. Like seeing there's some interesting. Nothing too cool, but. That was kind of fun, but there was something I was gonna say. I can believe God. That's how. Oh, the one big scene that they were all worried about, like going off without a hitch, and then I saw it on stage on screen. I'm like, that's the big shot. The motorcycle jumping something. I don't even know if it jumped anything.
My
like
God.
that was like the biggest thing going in. I'm like,
that was the biggest
letdown. Hyped that up way too. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, what's funny, the way it the way it played out in the movie as we're watching it, I was like, oh my God, what didn't happen? That this is what they settled for, because you could tell he's supposed to be doing this like semi-controlled slide, but it very clearly Dylan Sprouse is just laying on his side in front of a green screen as we're having all of this movement behind him, and he's not moving. And I'm like, it was like it was like Sci-Fi Channel movie of the month sort of effects happening right there.
Yeah.
Like, oh damn! Oh no, guys, no! Oh,
yeah, it's a rough watch, folks.
You went for it.
I do
Dylan,
appreciate you watching it.
Oh yeah. I had to.
I'm sorry, I tricked you into it. But I think
no, you
in all
didn't,
fairness,
I
told you the whole time I was on it how tumultuous it was. I think I tried. I tried to warn you.
Oh yeah, no. This was pure I just needed to see. I do,
yeah,
for my own. You know, it's funny because like if this was like a $50 million movie, 100%, this would be something I would see in a theater. You know, if it was a wide release, like what Jason
this was
Statham
a movie that they didn't even want to
vehicle.
pay for our lunches in the office. They didn't. They wanted us to just get our own lunches until they brought in someone new who's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like. This was penny pinching to the maximum. Except if you worked in, I'm not. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna move on here.
Oh no!
All right, I love one more movie.
Sorry, folks. I love hearing this shit just because we have that
mic,
background.
I can go on for
yeah.
you.
I'm excited.
I have
this one, though.
Oz Perkins, the director of Longlegs. His new follow-up to that film is The Monkey. That was a weird way to say I'm reviewing The Monkey. All right, this is based on a Stephen King short. All right, so you have these two twin boys who had a deadbeat dad who was an air pilot captain who would go to city, country to country, and bring back different little trinkets and things for his kids. And one day he went out to get cigarettes and never came back. And then, the family was cleaning out his closet and getting rid of stuff. The two boys discover this little wind-up monkey toy. And they kind of twisted it. And it was lackluster. But then someone died later on. And then next time they twisted it, someone died again. And then they realized, oh shit, this thing is cursed. And by that point, they realize they have to do something to get rid of it. They bury it at the bottom of a well. It goes away for years. These two brothers aren't really friendly with one another. They're twins. One's a badass and one's a really nice, quiet guy. We pick up years later. They haven't talked in years. Everything's been good. But their aunt who raised them after their mother's death had just died. And there's reason to believe that the monkey may have been involved. So one of the brothers has to go and get the monkey. And it turns out it's his one day out or one weekend out of the year he sees his son. And they're supposed to go to an amusement park, but he now has to go and get this murderous monkey toy.
Oh, God. Okay.
This movie, I have been on the edge of my seat, very much looking forward to, because the trailer is bonkers insane. Has an interesting cast. Elijah Wood's in it. Tatiana Maslany, She-Hulk. Adam Scott starts the movie off in a big bad way as these kids' dad. You get to see him with a fucking flamethrower. It starts off bonkers. Oz Perkins himself is in it. Theo James is our main character playing dual roles, and he's a really interesting actor and very, very interesting character playing these two very different guys. This movie is lived in. It has a vibe of its own that is just eerie and feels so realistic and grounded.
Yeah, but that classic like Stephen King tone.
Yes,
just these are like it just feels more real. You know, to puts you in the place. That's awesome. God, I love it. Okay.
And we're starting off, I think the boys are in the early 2000s. So it's kind of reliving that. And it's not like glorified like some movies would make it. It's like, no, here's a shitty life for these two boys. And it's going to get shittier. But the kills are the best part of this movie. They are just so bonkers and so insane. Awesome. It feels like Oz Perkins and his screenwriter that he worked with, I don't know if he wrote this himself or not. They were just like, all right, what's the craziest type of death we can have? Let's do this. Let's do that. What's the most inventive death? What's the goriest death? And they just threw all of this in there. But that's not to say this movie doesn't feel a little off, a little weird. It just doesn't feel as fulfilling as I wanted it to feel.
Oh.
It felt a little lackluster. And it kind of dragged a bit. And this movie was only an hour and 38 minutes. I got to watch it one more time because I don't know how I felt truly about it.
Okay.
I saw it late at night on a weeknight. Might have got a little drowsy, but I stood awake the whole time.
Okay.
But it just didn't live up to the hype I built in my own head.
Ooh,
And I'm kind of let down by that. But like I said, it definitely has this distinguishable, interesting charm about it. And it has sharp, witty comedy and just really balls out horror and gore.
Mhm.
But it just, something feels off and kind of not there for me. So I'm going to give The Monkey currently 2 slices of toast.
Okay.
I have to re-see this movie. It comes out February 21st. I'm going to re-see it. I don't think I'll re-review it here, but I'll let you know on a follow-up episode. I'll say, hey, man, I saw it again. I think it's better than I gave it. Yeah, but
maybe it'll be your next Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, there we go. I could love this thing. But I'd be intrigued to see what you have to say about it because maybe you'll like it a little more than me.
I'm very excited for this movie. I really, really, really would like to check it out. Again, and for the folks who are listening to the podcast, not watching the show, this fucking thumbnail of this monkey staring at me because I've got creepy. It's right next to my webcam on my TV, and it's just terrifying. I love it and I hate it and I love to hate it and I hate to love it. Like it's just
in the attention. So when he's there, his mouth is closed, and then once he starts going, it just opens and the teeth look so realistic. Everything about it is just so crazy.
Awesome.
And on the box they pull it out of, it says "like life," and one brother reads it and the other one's like, "You mean life like?" He's like, "No, like life." It's kind of like a play on like you should like life or else.
Oh man, it's funny when you said that I was about to correct you, so I love that you.
I assumed.
That's awesome.
That's the tricky thing. You can't tell who's gonna die. You just know someone's gonna die. You don't know how, when, or where, but it's coming. Nice. And the build up and the way it happens is always a little unsuspecting. So, yeah, cool. I really would love to hear your take on it. Hopefully, if you do get to see it soon or whenever, I'll hopefully have seen it a second time and can kind of jump in and agree or disagree and see where we're at.
Yeah, no, that'd be fun. No, definitely. Yeah, well, I'll let you when I do hit that one because that's not an if for me. That'll be even if it's gonna be when it comes out in streaming, I will definitely watch it. So
it's worth watching.
This one, nice.
I don't mean to downplay it. It just something felt off.
But I
like
totally
I said,
get that. I totally get that.
It could be me or it could be the movie. I'm not too sure just yet.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that. It's always a bummer when you kind of like. You get excited for hearing about a movie, then you see the trailer, you get more excited, and then something happens while watching the film. You're like, oh, well,
and that's kind of why
exactly. I
want to avoid the trailers, but it's hard to.
Oh yeah,
and like I was telling you off mic, I was going to see a 7:00 showing of this. I ended up seeing a 9:45, so that really equals a 10:30 showing on a Wednesday night. So that kind of was I was a little off base.
That'll throw it off. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I
being
have
a diabetic eating gummies and drinking a large pib mixes into an interesting situation for one person.
Oh God. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not talking weed gummies. I'm talking gummy candy.
Oh yeah.
I'm an idiot like that. So that's probably why I was a little drowsy.
That would do it.
Yeah. Not the film.
But
any questions or anything about it?
Well, something I wanted to point out just over several of the reviews we did this episode in general. I noticed not just the older film like Final Destination that I chose. A lot of these are right around 90 minutes. I feel like this is a trend coming back to start reeling stuff back in, tell a tighter story, quit trying to fluff up every moment of every detail of everything. I like that it's it's not like they're trying to get you in and out too fast, but realizing like you don't need to do every single idea that pops into your head when you're writing this thing doesn't need to be on screen, but it informs your decision of what direction you're going to be taking the story.
Yes.
The people who are making games and big multi-film series spend a lot of time writing out what the rest of the world is like, and a lot of other details that we'll never see in the end result of the film, but they still inform why things are the way they are. And I like that it seems like we're going back into this era of like, let's really try to deliver the things you should be seeing on screen. I mean, I hate to say, even Aftermath, 90 minutes. Monkey, 90 minutes. Let's Start a Cult.
And I will say,
Captain
America Brave New World, hour and 58 minutes, and that's one of the shorter MCU movies.
I was gonna say, yeah,
and they packed a lot in, and it flew by. Opposed to here's a 2 hour and 45-minute action movie, which we don't need that.
That has
it
huge
used to be a novelty, and now it's So good point. It's nice to see that coming back, because I think people are hearing, why do we need to sit through a movie? And it's like, I used to be like, oh yeah, the longer a movie, the better. And it's like, no,
me too,
not necessarily.
Me too. But that was also, I feel like that was easier to get away with before streaming, when you have the option to be able to enjoy a film at home on your own time, especially when you get into families where you have kids of varying ages, parents and other like maybe older family members that live in the household. In order for you to all like get into a movie theater is a big to do. Even to sit down and watch a movie at home, at least if some people dip out, they can come back and finish watching it, pick it up where they left off. So I get why, in order to compete with people who have that convenience, you need to offer something in theaters that isn't going to command half your day, unless you're Adam and see 4 movies in a day. So
only 3, Dennis. Although, should have been a news story, AMC in May is now upping the price by $1 to the membership that I'm a part of, the AMC Stubs membership, Prime, or I forget what it's called, and they're giving you 4 movies. So now
I was going to say, you get an whole extra movie. Yeah, I'm like,
crazy.
that sounds like worth the extra $1 a month.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I've been trying to convince Val we gotta pull the trigger on this fucking thing.
I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to buy you guys like a month gift subscription each for Christmas, but they only did 6 months, and I'm like, I can't afford that.
Oh man,
I was hoping it could like beta into it if I gave you guys like a small snippet of it.
I do appreciate that though. That's a good idea. Actually, Val's birthday is coming out. I think I need to. That might be married with another birthday gift I'm looking at. We'll have to see. Hope you're not watching, Val. We'll get out of here.
Anywho, but you mentioned, Dennis, the fact that people like shorter films plays into something that we happen to like to talk about. We like to talk about short films under 15 minutes or less for a little thing we like to call Movie Toast the Festival.
That's freaking right. Oh yeah. And too hot for broadcast television, because you can watch it streaming on YouTube when it premieres in December. Watch it from the comfort of your own home. It's a great short film festival where we're highlighting the filmmakers themselves, stories of every genre. We look from great love stories, horror, action, to just totally bonkers comedies and everything in between.
Kind of art installation style things, music videos.
Oh yeah,
everything under the sun. If it's good, we want to show it. We want to share it with our audience. We want to build a community.
I remember us having to review a cooking short that didn't make it into one year's.
No, we watch all of them, man.
We watch them all. Yes.
We have to say, hey, is this good? And some of us, one of us might like one thing, the other might not, and then we got to really talk it out and get a new appreciation for some things.
Yeah, it's really to highlight the artists, the filmmakers, the people who are devoting themselves to their craft and wanting to tell their story. And it's honestly a lot of fun, and I like getting to just really just feels like we're hanging out and sharing some really cool stories with one another. So please, if you got a short film or you got a short film that you're finishing up, come check out filmfreeway.com/movietoast, the festival, and submit now. The earlier, the cheaper. It goes up a few bucks, but really it's a low cost entry. We keep it cheap because we want to try to get as many entries as we can, just to have as broad a selection as we possibly can. All flavors, all the paints on the palette, all flavors of the rainbow. It's a lot of fun.
And we know how much money you put into making it.
Yes,
We know that that's not cheap to make a short.
Yeah, we know we're not the only festival you're submitting to either. So we want to make it something that is reasonable, but still helps us cover the cost of just getting the thing out the door. So, hey, maybe you don't have a film yourself, or you don't know anyone who's got a short film. Just come join us. Come check it out.
It's
like
free.
I said, it'll be a free stream on YouTube. We're sitting there in the live chat. You can chat away with us. If you don't catch it right away, it's up for just a few short days afterwards. We want to be able to make it as accessible as we possibly can without running into trouble for other people entering into other festivals and such. But
and it's films from all around the world, like
literally around the world. I mean, how many?
We've shipped awards to Paris the last.
Yep, I got to mail I got to mail this last year's trophy to England. We've done I've had to ship it just across the valley to Burbank before. So it's but we've had films from Russia, South Africa, Mexico,
you name it, India,
everywhere. Some Indonesia, like just everywhere. It still just floors me. I love that it's awesome. It's a language that everyone speaks, is watching sound and picture moving on screen is something that can bring most anyone together. So
definitely
come check it out.
And if you want to know about deadlines, you might forget, it's filmfreeway.com. Search for Movie Toasty Festival. You can always get info over at our socials. We're everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, all at movie_toast. I'm giving you daily reviews, trailer reactions, news, little clips and segments of this show. You can find all of that over there.
Yes.
And
if you think some of the movies and stuff sound like we're a week or so behind talking about it here, I promise you, Adam had covered it a lot sooner. He's on top.
If there's something we haven't talked about, like Paddington in Peru, any of the other hot movies that are in theaters right now, I've seen, and they're going to be up on YouTube, all the reviews, because we want to only do like 6 movies or less on the show. And I used to do like 8 movies, and it's like, what is this? This is terrible. So
it gets
that's why that Vice is out there. And they're short. They're like 3 minutes at most.
Yeah, go check it out. Give it a follow on your preferred platform, and keep the toasty times a rolling.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that shit. You listened or watched this, and you're like, well, that worked, and that didn't work. This show sucks. This show's okay. Let us know. We want to know on Apple Podcasts or anywhere, really.
Yeah, leave us a review, good, bad, anything in between. We just want to hear what you're thinking of the show, and we try to get every episode as toasty, golden, delicious as we can, folks.
Mm-hmm. But you don't want to do none of that. We ask you to do one thing for yourself, and it's super free and easy to do.
That's right, folks. As always, please stay toasty.
Stay toasty.
I'm in Dennis, they're the kings of the real. Reviewing new movies, they keep it real. Coast to coast, from LA to the east. On the podcast show, they feast on the beast. Adam's bringing knowledge like he's Professor X. Dennis with cuts deeper than Wolverine's claws. I guess Marvel, DC, they know them all by heart. Breaking down the plot, tearing every scene apart. They got the juice like Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. Breaking down movies with a sharp precision. Adam coming in hot like a John Wick hit. Dennis bringing the heat like the climax of a Tarzan flick.
Oh boy.
Banger.
What an episode there.
Yeah.
One thing I left off the charts because I didn't talk to you off mic. So
I saw now. And I'm ready.
Are you there? Are you there? All right, let's do it. If you're still
we
here,
finished
folks,
it, man.
We're doing it, man. We have a bonus review, yes. Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 3. Let's start off with no spoilers, and then we're gonna get some spoilers, folks.
Yes.
There's a lot to talk about here.
As far as the no spoiler coverage, let's assume you watched Part 2 or not even mention. Okay.
Everything before these episodes, fair play.
Yes. Okay. Picking up some time after the tragic conclusion of the tournament in Spain. We are life is moving on.
But the tournament is no longer.
Yes.
All that hard work our dojos have put into it, by the wayside. And our main man, fucking Ralph Macchio, he's not handling it very well. And neither is Johnny Lawrence.
Danny Russo's stressing out. Johnny's got a lot on his plate with the baby on the way. He had all these plans of where things were supposed to be. He's maybe getting a little pressure from mother-in-law, like, you should be locking this down.
Little best.
I laughed so fucking hard. And little Russo, she's going off to college, but maybe not the college her parents
not so close to SoCal.
Yeah, so it's where things are a little on edge. A lot of big life decisions are being made, and some things are waiting around the corner. We have a lot of unsettled business.
One man in particular is trying to get the Sotai. I don't know how to say it, the tournament back up, and that's Mr. I was gonna say Stern Stale. Why am I blank? What the fuck is his name?
Why is
this? Wow, we're reviewing something and we don't even know names. Fucking bullshit. Cobra Kai.
Off the rail.
Who can Google quick
Terry
enough?
Silver.
Terry Silver, the easiest
wants to keep it going. I love that we
just lost viewers right there and listeners.
Terry Silver wants to keep it going. John Kreese is
he's given up the life. He doesn't even want to live anymore. It seems he's realized all the decisions he's made in his life have added up to him just being a shitty guy, and he's perfect
had enough.
Redemption here.
I like that we start. My issue though is like we spend a lot of time on our core group of characters. Sure. But then we're kind of left wondering what's happening with everyone else.
Yes.
Like 2 episodes before we see like half the freaking dojo.
Yeah. Before we see the kids, which is nice that we're seeing our adults. We're seeing our main characters who we kind of not forgot about, but we focus more on the kids, especially in the back half of the season.
Yeah.
But it took 2 episodes before the kids even entered fray. And we're not even getting our main roster of kids, like the fucking 12 kids. We're getting like our core 3, core 4, maybe.
It took way too long to see Eli and the red.
The binary bros.
Yeah, like
Hawk and Eli.
Yeah. Well, that is Hawk.
Eli and Robbie.
Dimitri and Eli. There you go.
Yes. Wow, we suck at this. Did we really watch it? I don't know.
Did we watch it? I don't know.
Too many names. Too many names.
There's a lot. Like there's a lot of characters. I love that little bit. Like that the date with Chosen, like I liked
what's her face from fucking Saved by the Bell and Striptease.
He was Chosen was great. Like that character, I liked that we were kind of buttoning up all of these things, and that's the thing. They have a lot of things to shut down, like a lot of loose ends to tie up,
and it was very slow. I'm like, I don't see it happening. And the first episode or 2 felt a little off. I'm like, they're just pulling taffy. I don't care about this. Exactly. And then they got me back into it halfway through. I'm like, this is what I wanted.
That was my problem with it right there. I think they took too long to make some of these things happen. Val and I both had agreed this was like the slowest segment of like the whole series.
Yeah.
We've been invested all 6 seasons, but for some reason, part 3 of season 3 just
a little hard.
Longest to get through. Yeah. And I'm like, you've been showing us all this badass stuff for years. You've been writing us into all these like gnarly corners. How are we going to do this? How are they going to accomplish that? And it took so long to finally get
biggest thing. What pissed me off right off the get-go. Sorry, I'm cutting you off. I do.
No. Please.
The fact that we're picking up after someone got killed at the tournament. I'm like, I want to see that, not just cut a few days or weeks later. I'm like, okay, you're cheaping out. You don't want to show us.
Back in, yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you there. It's like you had built up this awesome, just fucking battle royale fight playing out. Kid gets killed. Kreese feels responsible.
Cut the cameras. Oh, what a
right,
way to
and then-
end the.
Oh God, I really enjoyed the actor that runs the tournament.
Oh yes, that guy was.
He
really
has a
cool.
great character in Man in the High Castle. That was just a lot of fun to watch. The whole cast is really solid in the show, and unfortunately, I don't think we get to see enough of them. They compressed all the goodness into just a hand. Like the last 2 episodes are great, but a lot of the stuff leading up to it, we're just milking all these moments out, and I'm like, oh, man, come on, guys, you're gonna do us like this in the end.
Yeah, you were so
and they
strong
did.
before. All right, I guess
what do
let's
we-
get into spoilers.
We're ready.
We're
We're get
dancing
into
around
it.
some stuff.
Let's get into
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
let's get into
we have to.
spoilers.
So
Yeah. So
all right, the fact I felt like
go for it.
they had. All right, they're like, all right, we're gonna have the tournament now in the valley, and guess what? It looks like the same fucking set. It's like, what? Okay, fine, sure. And then
They
one
try
of
to
the
make
fights
it look
didn't
like
even-
they try to a little bit make it look like the set from the original Karate Kid, even though it's clearly not. And they're trying to sell it to, or at least it doesn't look. Maybe it's just the way they film it now. It's way too cinematic, but it's like.
But I mean, it
doesn't
looks like the
feel-
same. It looks like the same dojo or atmosphere place as when they were in fucking.
When they're in
Brazil.
Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And it's like,
I'm with you.
and then they know, all right, here's our 2 final fights, and then they have all these times off in between the fights, and they can train. It's like
That
no,
was so
just jump
confusing.
to the fight.
I thought each day of the tournament was every day. This sounded like they were
Yes.
talking about the next day, but then all of this shit would happen between. That was just like, it doesn't make any sense. So
Not
is this
at
like
all.
once a week or something? Like, I don't fucking get it. Why is it taking so long? And then the other killer, notice they invite all of the dojos back, but none of them get to fight except for these 4.
Uh-huh. It's like,
I'm
what's the
just
point?
like-
Every dojo had to agree to have the tournament come back.
They're
And then
coming
it's
in
like, oh,
from
you're gonna watch
Germany,
this.
from Italy, from like they're coming in from all around the world, and it's like,
the valley.
oh my god,
Ugh.
to the San Fernando, the valley. They always say the valley,
Yep, not
the San
San
Fernando Valley.
But I
Here.
will say, when they did have the scenes of Ralph and Zapka running down
Yes,
Encino,
Ventura
like, oh, this feels
Boulevard.
good.
Oh my god, that was so funny.
Seeing the Limley sign, seeing it was nice.
Encino Commons.
Yeah.
See it like the Fat Sal's down the road, like just seeing all these things that are recognizable. Funny enough, they had to go right by. There's a couple of Karate Kid murals that are painted onto buildings on Ventura Boulevard. And it's like, wouldn't it have been great if they spent a moment looking at
Right?
that last shot of them? You know,
That'd
like
be
that.
funny.
I don't know how
But-
they would have made that work, but it would have been awesome.
So the beauty here, the way they go about doing things, it's like, all right, it's Miyagi-Do versus I forget what the fuck the other, whatever the team's name is.
The Silver Dragons.
Silver Dragon. Yeah, I think it's Silver Dragons or whatever. So it's them, and then it's like, fucking LaRusso Jr. doesn't want to fight. Okay,
Oh.
cool. Way to build up that for no reason.
Oh no!
And then-
he breaks his fucking leg. He gets his leg broken.
No, not Lawrence Jr. I'm talking about Mary Mouser.
Oh!
Samantha.
Shit! Yes. Oh my god!
LaRusso.
Yeah. Yes. Samantha
and
Bowser.
then-
yeah.
And
Right.
then Miyagi-Do exits, and then we get a badass revival of Cobra Kai,
Cobra Kai.
which just felt nice.
Super.
After,
But it also was kind of forced. Like,
yeah,
where-
and how all of a sudden, after you made this decision, do you just have these?
technically they were all members of Cobra Kai, so they could
At
come
one
in wearing
point.
these. I'm like, what? And
Yeah.
it's like, and then it resulted in a tie. So now the
senseis have to fight.
I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No!
But okay. This
No,
is-
just have them fight again.
how many times did they announce this is an 18 and under tournament? And here's these dudes, grown ass men. We're gonna have fight instead. Which
Although
I
it was
get-
nice to see Johnny fight, but they could have
we
made
needed to have it happen. We needed to have him
like they
fight on
should have
screen.
set up like, oh, one of the big ways is they should have set something up. They shouldn't have had it been here. There's something more should have been at stake. Like
Yes.
maybe they won or the other team cheated or something.
But
and
you
the
need to-
senseis had an all-out brawl.
You need to give Johnny that closure of getting to come back to the same stage he failed on. He hasn't
Yep.
been a champion since 1983. He's lost in '94 to LaRusso. So now he gets to reclaim. He feels like he gets to earn that title again. I enjoy that for the character.
Yes,
as an audience
but
member, it feels like
show-
you really shoehorned it in there. But I'm glad that he had to have that moment. I mean, you could see William Zabka, like the emotion he got to express in the end of the series.
Yes.
I love the range he got to share.
And did you know he directed the finale?
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. I'm like,
him.
that's
Fuck
fantastic.
yeah, man.
And the closure him and Kreese got was so stellar.
That was
I
great.
love that.
Yeah, that was a great moment. See,
I'm still not convinced that
time.
Kreese didn't die and Silver didn't die. They're like,
now I was going to get there. The best fight for the end of the series was Silver and Kreese on the yacht. That whole moment of like, he was like, all right, you need to go you're going to go kidnap his wife and
threaten
their lives. So that so he has to do something. And then you hear the scuffle. I'm like, oh,
you knew what was coming.
It's just that dead body rolling down. I'm like, oh my fucking yes.
And I love how they set up the oxygen, the gas tanks, and the cigar. And I loved it. I saw on Twitter, I followed the showrunner and creator. He's like, Kreese came in with the cigar and went out with the cigar. I'm like, oh, that's so fantastic and bookend.
He had what's funny because I remember when the actor Martin Cove did KTLA morning press junket stuff for, I think it was season 6 part 1. He was promoting, and he already knows what's going to happen. At that point, I'm sure they've already shot it. His stuff, and he was so just like, man, I love where my character goes. Like he was just so at peace with like, it is the best way to close the book on Kreese. And now having seen it, I'm like, oh my God, you couldn't have asked for a better way. That was awesome. That line about could he ever not be a villain? Like, could he ever be a good man? And I love that moment. He knew this was going to do it. It would take every ounce of him to get to that point, but he did it. And it was so satisfying. And you knew his other, like, not protege, but Kim.
Yes, that was beautiful.
You knew that that like it's kind of just handing it off, her taking over the dojo. I love having that moment. We're not going to like this. Our dojos will not be associated with this anymore. The revival of Cobra Kai, the original location coming back. Like,
can we talk about that? I was so mad that Stingray was not in any of this season or barely in last season.
Well, that's what happened last season.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Because they only referenced him last season. The end of the last one, you got that one quick shot of him in the forest with like the fucking toddler on the phone
as they're with a couple of kids that he's starting to train. And I kind of feel like they did Paul Walter House dirty when they did it to him again. Let's just jam him in right at the end
But it was nice to see him. I was happy. Yes, I was going to be pissed if I didn't see him.
Because exactly,
we saw him more than we saw Cobra Kai students and Miyagi-Do students in this season.
Well, what's kind of a bummer though is why wasn't he even like at the tournament, even watching?
Yeah, he loves them. They made him the man he is now.
You would think Stingray would at least be overseeing, or at least taking part in the tournament, like watching the tournament. But yeah, to be honest, it was a little lackluster for the most part.
It wasn't the best
3.
of all.
No, it really
seasons.
wasn't. No, but the end of it,
they did tie it so perfectly.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The resolution to everyone's stories was nice. I like where the relationships ended or not ended.
Everyone.
Where everyone's relationships kind of were tidied up. Let's put it that way. We brought back any of the characters who were in the original films. We brought back as many of them as we could to be on screen. I liked that scene in the church. Like,
that was good.
It's there's a lot of moments I really liked, but the pace I just had a hard time with. And you wanted to get to the final fight. It's about the fights, man. Like it's kind of the thing.
I mean, the drama's fun, but
yes, that's why. I mean, go back to watch like the first Karate Kid. That is, the drama is most of the film. The fighting is only a fraction of it. And yeah, sorry.
Can we talk about that one dream sequence where they brought back Miyagi? I felt like it was better than the last time they brought him back.
Yes.
But his mouth was always out of sync, and it's like, what? You couldn't make a mouth work?
What's funny? I brushed that off as it's a dream. It's the illusion. It's
Fair
because
enough.
it's because it's within LaRusso's mind. That's why things seemed a little off, especially like the volume of people in the skeleton suits and shit. You know, that was definitely a factor in that sort of dreamlike state. But then he got to have the resolution within his own heart. Then there's hearing the story of what happened with Mr. Miyagi, the man he killed, the assault he had committed and stuff. When you learn about the necklace, you know, like they did a nice job tidying all those individual pieces up.
Yeah, that was nice to kind of mend that gap. It's like kind of forgot about that story. We kind of moved past
kind
it.
of did too, right?
But it's nice that they're like, here's what really fucking happened. And to work Daniel's mother into that story, I felt was kind of sweet.
Yeah. I thought so too. So as I don't want to see like even if this is the segment of the entire series I might have liked the least, it's still not bad, and it still had a lot of great moments in it. So I'm glad the characters that needed to have their triumphant, you know, moments all happened.
Yep.
I think a couple other characters deserved it, have a little more shine.
Sure.
But I guess we'll just have to see how it's going to play out in the movie. And Val was already calling out. I'm like, all right, she's going to Japan. So
there's no questioning if they say it. But the movie takes place 2 years after these events. So it's like,
well, we still got to figure out how, like, it doesn't offer any explanation as to why the sensei that Jackie Chan plays, because he has to come in from Hong Kong, right? So or do they end up going to China at some point? Because we've never been to China in the series, right?
I don't think so either. It's been so. But I mean, even in the trailer, they're like, "Oh no, I came here for you, not for your sensei." And it's like, what? Okay, cool. How'd you hear about? Maybe since he was a part of this Taikai Saikai, they learned. I don't know. So many questions, and apparently there's talk about having the Binary Bros have a spinoff, and I'm like, out of all the characters, they're cool, but I don't need a spinoff of them.
Right? Yeah.
It's like, what are they doing? Karate in college? Or are they just doing nerdy shit? I don't know.
Using karate to get themselves out of situations their mouths got them into.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't overdo it, because that's what part of their charm was. They were the two fun, nerdy, occasionally feuding friends.
They could come and go
in the world of Cobra Kai.
Yes.
So that made them made them stand out within the context of this. Now, if the setting is their worlds, their lives, they're not going to be unique anymore, because that's them.
It's like their version of Big Bang Theory. They're not doing karate. They're just doing fucking science.
But
and then I'm like, who else would I want to see?
Roundhouse kick you in the face.
I don't really care about Samantha's story. It's like, okay, I'm like, I like Miguel and I like Robbie, but I'm like, what are they really? I don't know. I feel like you could leave it where it's at.
Well, I mean, with Robbie and Tori, they're now
That's
true.
Going to be that'd
athletes.
Be fun to watch.
If anything, those are the two I would want to see.
Yeah,
because they're still doing it. Now, I didn't realize. I thought it was kind of neat. I didn't realize
that they were
Tanner Buchanan and Mary Mauser. Announced their engagement on the carpet for this event. It's like, good for them. That's really sweet. It's kind of funny. They're playing opposing. Their characters are.
I mean, they dated at one point.
Yeah, like earlier in this. Yes, much earlier in the series. But
like I was thinking that too. Like when they were kissing in that point, I'm like, oh, how awkward is that? And she's like cheering them on. I'm like, that's weird.
Right. Solo Peyton just hanging out over there. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was a fun ride. It was a fun ride. Of course, I'm gonna want to check out the film and when that rolls around. And if anything, it shows you can have that attention at a young age, like Ralph Macchio and William Zabka did. This many years later, you still can do it. You know, age is just a number. Talent, I think, as long as you keep it sharp, is always going to be there. You have incredible young talent who got to star in the series that I think we're going to see a lot of these performers for decades to come, as it's been proven by the rest of the cast of the show, and I want to see more of them in other things.
For sure.
I'm
with you on
the
that.
show has definitely proven there's a
They
lot
got
of talent here. So
For
good
sure.
good on all of them. Applause to the cast, the writers, everyone involved throughout the series. Great job on making a very entertaining show, and 6 seasons. I mean, that's
Agreed.
nothing to
Yeah.
scoff at.
And the fact that the platform they began on dissipated, they were canceled, and then they came back stronger and harder, kind of like Cobra Kai themselves, man.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good that's a good end to that. No,
I think
that's
so.
cool. Nice,
Yeah,
man.
thanks.
I'm glad we both
I'm like, I know I forgot to ask you, but I'll tack it on there just in case.
When you were checking
we have
checking the slideshow, I saw that go by. I'm like, oh yes. Oh, we're doing this.
Yeah. Right. But I'm happy we're kind of on the same page about certain things. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I think
worth
it's apparent.
watching
It definitely made the bigger moments punch harder. The emotion, like we were saying, between Kreese and Lawrence, the brutality between Kreese and Silver. I liked we finally got to hit those points. I just wanted to see a little bit more of the other folks that we've grown to love over all these years.
I know it's hard to fit all that in 5 episodes, but I do appreciate the fact that even though it dipped down, it still found a way to pick itself back up and wrap up on a strong note.
It's like they by now they know exactly what the audience wants, so I'm glad they went for it.
And did you catch that little nod at the end where they were like making a meta joke where they're at that cafe or sushi spot and they're like talking about doing a prequel to Back to the Future series?
Oh my god, yes. That I was as there's like 2 lines into them, like, wait, they're talking about Back to the Future. What the fuck? What is that?
It's like, damn, that would be interesting. Biff? Watching a Biff series?
God.
Didn't they say they were getting like the original dad? I don't know. So many interesting avenues they could take.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It was a funny way to have a little moment.
Yeah. And the smashing the fucking floor. Got it. Because it's like
that build up.
Even in that moment right there, because it's not oh my god, why can't I think of the dojo LaRusso's from? It's supposed
Miyagi-Do?
Yeah, it's the name of the series isn't Miyagi-Do. The name of the series is Cobra Kai. So you can't let LaRusso have that moment.
Right? It felt weird. It's like, oh, that's going to be the end of the show, LaRusso?
No,
even though we came in.
Johnny's going to come in and he's going to Johnny the fuck out of this scene because this is Cobra Kai.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was great. That was great. Not lost on me one bit. That was awesome. Oh. Well, awesome, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening, watching. We appreciate it.
Yeah. But looking forward to another fun episode with you toasties next time. Come check us out then.